He is Big Shot Bob Robert Horry, Lakers analyst for Spectrum Sportsnet, back on the program. This was brought to our attention first hour of the program. Can you be a fan of the Lakers and the Clippers if you live in Los Angeles?
If you're an LA native, I think you can because you want your city to be successful. And I think it's possible. There's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't be mad at anybody. You got a guy by the name of Clipper Darrell. He claims he's a Clipper fan, but we know low key he loved the Lakers too.
Yeah, but I think if the Clippers were really good, then I think Laker fans, then you'd have a problem. But the Clippers haven't been that, anywhere near the Lakers. Therefore, it's kind of nice that, you like the little Clippers.
Yeah, it's like you like the little brother. You want the little brother to be successful, but hey, stay in your lane. You're not gonna get too successful because if you do, we're gonna have to up our ante, do some things. Get a guy like Kobe, get a guy like Shaq, and then show you who the real big dog is.
I'm watching Wemby, and I brought this up to Isaiah Thomas yesterday. I could see Ralph Sampson being like this in his day, but back then they would tell the big guy, get down on the blocks. Now you can roam the perimeter, but you see remnants of Ralph Sampson with Victor Wembanyama?
You look at him and the way Victor moves and how Ralph used to move on the court before he had all those injuries, his silkiness, how he ran up and down the court. You think about every kid that watched basketball wanted to run with their thumbs up like Ralph, and Ralph was phenomenal. And I think, we back then, once you passed like 6'4", oh, you're big, get down on the block. And I think that was the worst thing for basketball. Instead of letting guys say, oh, you got talent, show us what you can do. And I think that's so great about today's NBA game. They let guys showcase all their talents, just not a specific area on the floor.
Well, I don't know if Dirk Nowitzki was the first to take it out past like 16 to 18 feet, and he was at 6'10" or 7 feet. Oh, you were the first. Wait.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm one of the guys.
Well, you were 3 though.
Well, in college I played center. I played center in college. I was 6'9". I could do a little bit of everything. My high school coach, Richard Robinson, he was one of the first guys that said, if you can't beat a player one-on-one, if you can't do everything on the court, you're not a basketball player. And when you say everything, that means play defense, play offense, whatever it takes to make the game, successful, you do it.
Better shooter, you or Dirk Nowitzki then?
Oh my goodness! You know what? I think I am. I know people say almost say like you're crazy, dude. But I look at it when you get touches, you get a rhythm. I didn't get touches like Dirk. Dirk is probably more talented than me as far as like putting it on the floor. But if you have me coming off a pick and screens, I'm knocking that shot down. I always, people going like, this dude is crazy. Everybody always think I'm so controversial. I'm such a, but if you don't believe in yourself, why are you even playing this game, right?
Oh, I don't have any problem with your answer. I mean, guys can be delusional too. Wait, did I just say that or was I just thinking that? My bad.
So here's a question for you, Dan. So
okay.
Games on the line. Who you gonna have take the shot, me or Dirk?
You.
Okay, then.
But
and I hope that's your honest answer. You're not just saying that to keep me coming back to your show.
Yeah. If this was at the end of the interview, I might say Dirk. But who does Brunson remind you of? Maybe back when you played.
Tim Hardaway. I think that when you think about the compact, strong guys who can body you and get their shot off, he just reminds me of that guy. He's not going to play above the rim. He's going to play below the rim. He's going to cross you up, get to his spot, and knock down his shot. And Brunson is so good at using his body. It's almost like when he was in Dallas, he just kept watching Luka and taking tidbits of Luka and adding to the game. Because if you really break down his game, he and Luka do the same things. They hit you with that shoulder, they get that space, they rock you to sleep. But the only thing is different, Bronson plays at a little faster pace than Luka.
I was wondering about this because you were a really good defender as well
Thank
as
you.
being a really good shooter. But if you were facing Wemby, you probably – I don't think Olajuwon would have guarded Wemby. I think, that might have been – like Caruso, where you get that guy who, you're underneath him and frustrating him because you're never going to outbig him. But
I just think Caruso can't guard him. And I think the OKC got confused by Caruso guarding Joker. The Joker doesn't play above the rim, so you need that height. And I think if Dream was a great defender, so we'd have put Dream on him and use his lower body to push him out. And you just mentioned how all these guys were so good, but you weren't really able to showcase your talent. You think Dream Defensive Player of the Year, he can move his feet, he can block shots. I'm not saying he's gonna block Wemby shot, but he can contest it. And I think that is the biggest key because you look at what Hartenstein is doing to Wemby. He's just biting him, making him tired, keeping his ability to not play above the rim. So that's what you have to do with those guys. So I think Dream could have guarded him. Me, I've probably been too skinny. Hold on, wait. We are talking about Wemby, so I might have not been too skinny to guard Wemby.
I'm looking at the Knicks. They're on an all-time heater here. Best point differential through the first 12 games of a postseason. The Knicks have the most point differential, the highest point differential, plus 221. Then it's the Warriors of 17, the Bucks with Lou Alcindor in 71, the 87 Lakers, the 2025 Thunder, the 96 Bulls, your 01 Lakers are in there as well. Everybody won the title who's on this list except for this year's Spurs, because either the Knicks or the Spurs, may win the title. But everybody else on this list, they went on to win the title. So that point differential has been very, very, historical run so far for the Knicks. Why do you think they've all of a sudden it's clicked here? Because they were down 2-1 to the Hawks.
Uh-huh. But I think sometimes you need to get punched in the face to wake up. And let's be honest, the Sixers, not a very good team. Okay, and then looking at Cleveland, one of the biggest meltdowns ever in the first half, second half. And I just think they have had a string of luck. And I'm not, Knicks fans are going to go crazy on me for saying this, but I think if they do finish with the best point differential, it ain't going to matter because the West is going to win the championship because the West is just too dominant. If you look at their team, meaning the Knicks, they got some deficiencies there. And you look at the West, they don't have any deficiencies. So I think, right now it looks good on paper, but at the end of the day, all those analytical people who look at this point differential and all this kind of stuff don't really know sports. It's about talent at the end of the day.
What was a better playoff team? The 01 Lakers, who went 15-1, or your 95 Rockets, who won as a number 6 seed?
Oh man, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. But you know what? I'm gonna be man enough to step up and say it. The 15-1 Lakers. You think about the run we were on. It's like we were so freaking good, man. You think about Shaq being the most dominant player in the game, Kobe being the most electrifying player in the game, and then you had a band of brothers just would lock you down from Rick, B. Shaw, Derek Fisher, myself, Horace Grant, and that's the thing that people always look at those teams. It's always Shaq and Kobe's team. But the rest of us, we knew exactly what we needed to do. We knew exactly how to slap them upside the head and get them in line. And you got to have guys on your team that are not afraid of the big dogs. You think about, B. Shaw, Harper, all of us guys. We'd go to Shaq and Kobe and say, give me the ball. You messing up. Do your role. You do your role and then I'll do mine. You can't be one of those players afraid of the superstars, because if you have guys that are smart and they'll listen to you because they know you the guys that are in the trenches that understand what's really going on.
Wait, you could yell at Kobe?
Oh yeah. I can yell at I even yelled at Dream, and that's something you do not do.
Why not?
Because Dream was that guy that a lot of players are afraid of players because they have this mystique about them. Dream and I are really, really good friends, and it happened after my rookie year where we had a nice long conversation, just he and I one-on-one, and he got to understand me, and he saw how smart I was, and saying, "Okay, I trust your IQ. I trust what you go do in the court." And I remember one time I yelled at him on the court. I like, "Box out, Dream. That's why you lost the championship in college." And everybody was like, "What?" And so, and after that, everybody was like, "Did you really yell at Dream?" Like, if you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. Hey, like they always say, the film don't lie.
When do you expect the Lakers to find out what LeBron wants to do?
I think they need to find out soon, especially with the draft coming up, because that's when all the teams are going to start jockeying for positions, trying to figure out what's going on with their roster. And I know LeBron, being the businessman that he is, he doesn't want to put the Lakers in a bad position because the Lakers are going to have a lot of money. They need to make some moves fast, especially with new ownership. I don't know what kind of relationship he has with new ownership, but me knowing, what they did for the Dodgers, they ain't waiting. They're gonna try to make some moves because you gotta think about it. You think about all the guys when Shaq was playing, made so much money because they got on a team because the goal was to stop Shaq. And now you got to find someone that can stop Wemby, someone who can stop Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So the Lakers got to figure that roster out soon before someone gets gobbled up.
Great to talk to you as always. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. You too, man. I'm here for you always.
I appreciate it. That's Robert Horry, one of the great shooting big men of all time. Took that one personally. All of a sudden, I'm dropping Dirk in there, and he's pointing to himself like, what about me? That's okay. When Dirk joins me, Robert, I'm going to say that Dirk's the best, shooting
That's fine.
big guy.
That's fine. We all have bad opinions.
Robert Horry, the Lakers analyst for Spectrum Sportsnet.